promised you that we would start on time, and on time we will start. Good morning. I am Gwen Hess. I am the president of the Black Women's Agenda. We welcome you to this wonderful workshop this morning. When we were preparing for this workshop, I did a little research, and I found that 76% of all Americans said that they could not name one living scientist. And I would go as far to say they probably don't know any engineers, technologists, or mathematicians. We are here today to change all of that. You are here to help us make STEM very important in our lives. Not only is it important in our own lives for our people, but it's important for our country. It's important economically, defensively, and offensively. So we have a lot of work to do today to get that done. And because we have so many collaborative organizations here, we have a rare opportunity to, and what I'd like to put on the table is, if we could think of ways that possibly we can come together and do a memorandum of agreement or a petition, or perhaps just talk about what that would look like to let the world know that the major national women's organizations are behind STEM. So that's one of the things that I would like for you to consider today. GE has been very generous to sponsor this workshop. We have Deborah Elam here, who will be our facilitator. We're very happy to have you. So we thank all of you for coming, and we thank GE for bringing good things to life. Thank you.
Come right in. Good morning. Another good morning. I'm Ann Pruitt-Logan, a member of the BWA board, and I chair this workshop. I am so happy to see you here today, and we are excited about the workshop. And I hope that by the time you leave here at 11:15, you'll be as excited as we are. I just want to take a poll of who's here. Anybody, we're talking about getting girls into science. Any mothers of girls here? Raise your hand. Any grandmothers of girls here? Any sisters of girls? Any aunts of girls?
Brothers.
Okay, you are the people who influence them. They watch you, you take them to activities, you decide what it is they're going to do. I'm going to tell you a little story, and some of you have heard this one before. Two little girls were having lunch one day. One was named Leslie, one was named Sabrina. Sabrina picked up her cracker. They were having soup and crackers. The cracker was rectangular. And Sabrina said, Leslie, if I bite my cracker in half, I'll have a square. And Leslie said, sure. If I bite off the corner, I'll have a triangle. Can you guess how old they were? What grade they were in? They were 6 years old in the first grade. I was just amazed, and I haven't forgotten that. One of those little girls right now holds a PhD in exercise physiology, and she's working at the Stanford University Medical School. Can you believe? 6 years old, biting off a cracker and knowing some geometry? Okay, that's what we're here today. There are many things that you will want to do about helping girls, not only in the school system, but everywhere else that they're involved. I must tell you that our session today is being recorded, and we are not permitting any other recordings to take place. You were handed an evaluation sheet outside. We're going to ask you to complete that sheet by the time that we end this morning and turn it in at the door. One other piece of mechanics, there's a personal action plan that you might have been handed. I hope you have. That's for you to complete and take home so that you can think about, if you're representing an organization, you can think about how you're going to do something about STEM in your organization. If you are chairing a committee at your church, you can think about how can we get this church involved in doing something about STEM. So that's what the personal action plan is for. It is now my pleasure and my honor to introduce Deborah Elam from GE, Vice President and in charge of diversity at GE, her bio and the bios of everyone on your program. But Deborah has been our conduit with GE, and we are just excited and delighted to have her here this morning.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. Good morning. Now, come on, you guys. It's early. We're excited. We can do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm very, very pleased to be here. We were invited to partner with the Black Women's Agenda several months ago. And in looking at the organization, we got very excited to know the collaboration, to know how it's represented, to know who's in the room, and the kinds of issues this organization tackles. So we were just thrilled to be invited to be a part of this and thrilled to be here today. Let me just give you a quick high level on how the day is going to progress, because it may be a little different than what you've done in the past if you've been to this workshop in the past. One of the things about GE, if you know anything about the company, we like action. We like things that are actionable. You know, talk is good, talk is interesting, talk is informative, but then what? So our premise in starting to partner with this organization was, hey, we need to be sure everybody in the room is vested in this conversation because it's a national conversation, and it can't be just listening. It's got to be partnership. Does that make sense to everybody? So what we're going to do is two things. We're going to have a panel discussion for a period of time, probably about half of the time of this entire workshop, that I'm going to facilitate. But if you think about it from a baseball standpoint, I'm going to throw out the first pitch and really want to hear your questions of the panelists who are the experts in the STEM field. And then after that, we are going to work in table teams. We have prepared some questions. I've polled a number of our folks in the STEM field at GE and as part of the organization. We're going to ask you to work with a facilitator. We've brought a team of facilitators from GE, and their bios are in your brochure, in your program as well, to work with you to really talk about that particular question. Then at the end, we're going to have a report out. What did you come up with? What are the one or two things you came up with that you can we can do to tackle it? Then we'll compile all of that data and make sure that all of the workshop participants get a copy so that we really walk out of here feeling like we've done something, we have something tangible, we have something actionable. Everybody cool with that? Great. So without further ado, I'm going to just briefly introduce our panelists, and I know we have two that are en route. I know traffic can be quite harrowing in Washington, D.C., as having lived here before. I'm going to be very brief and touch a couple of points, ask you to read the bios in your program, and then we'll jump right in. So let me introduce Pam Jackson Hall, if you identify yourself, please. Pam is the general manager for the critical segment in the respiratory and sleep business in GE Healthcare Systems. She manages, she holds degrees from Delaware State in physics and math, undergrad, and Penn State, a master's in electrical engineering. She manages over 70 engineers in the United States and India. Personally, she has worked in the UK, in Germany, and in Mexico. Welcome, Pam. And hold your applause, if you would, until the end of the introductions. Our next panelist is Carol Hamilton. Carol? Carol is an aeronautical engineer. She is Systems Safety Program Manager for NASA. She's here at Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering from Howard University and a Master of Science in Safety Management from Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Welcome. Argentina James, Argentina, is Vice President of the Public Affairs Division of the Port Authority of Houston. She's responsible for advancing the Port Authority's corporate social responsibility and government relations and all of their communications. She's the face of the Port Authority, if you think about it that way. She's a graduate of Texas Southern University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism and a Master of Arts degree in communication. In addition to all of that, for the Links organization, she is the National Services to Youth Facet Lead, Argentina. Dr. Gary L. Harris. Gary, I guess you figured out who Gary was at this point. Gary holds a doctorate, masterate, and bachelor of electrical engineering degrees from Cornell University. The degrees are in electrical engineering and electrophysics, respectively. He is professor of electrical engineering and director of the Howard University Nanoscale Science and Engineering Facility. He has a program, which I know he'll talk about a bit, called the Nano Express, which is quite interesting and exciting. It's a mobile laboratory, which I think really focuses on some of the issues in STEM and getting younger people and others involved and interested. Also would like to introduce Carl Mack, who's joining us. Carl is the executive director of NSBE, the National Society for Black Engineers, which is one of the nation's largest student-governed organizations. He's been at NSBE for about 5 years. He holds an engineering degree from Mississippi State University in mechanical engineering, and he's been very involved and very passionate about a program that he started several years ago called SEEK, Summer Engineering Experience for Kids Academy, which is a summer camp, and I think he'll talk more about that. So, if you welcome our panelists and thank them for being here. As I mentioned, I'm going to start a few questions and like you to think about your questions to get the ball going. So I am going to start. The first question is for Carol. Carol, when you think about being in the STEM field and you think about some of the, sorry, can you hear me? I know we're recording. When you think about getting into a STEM discipline, how did you do that? What were the early sort of seedlings that said, well, maybe I'll go into this? Was it a teacher? Was it a mentor? Was it somebody that said, well, you're good in science, you're good in math? What kind of sparked your interest and pushed you in that direction?
Okay, thank you. I sometimes call myself the reluctant engineer. Basically, I grew up in Ohio in Shaker Heights, and what we did, we had kind of a tracking program. So if you were a good student, then they put you on this fast track where instead of taking biology, you took chemistry. Instead of doing basic math, you did another one. And even though I was good at math, and actually I preferred biology to chemistry, it was just kind of, you did that because it was expected of you. So went through that and didn't have a problem. It wasn't that I disliked math or science or anything like that. It probably wasn't my favorite field. But then it came time to go to college, and I was not one of those children that had an idea of what I wanted to do. I think people are blessed that know from an early age exactly what they wanted to do, and they can plot their future. I knew where I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to my family school at Howard University, and I had to fill it out. So basically my reasoning was, well, if I put down chemical engineering, I can change it later, but at least I will have gotten all the calculus and those things. But since then, I have to tell you, 4 years later, I didn't change my major. But one of the things I have to tell you that really sparked it is that later on, as I started getting more into it, I discovered that the flexibility, I think, of engineering is what kind of keeps you excited, that you kind of can meld whatever your interest is or was into a field of engineering. One of the examples is that I was always interested in psychology. Well, it took me